Hell no. No, 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 no. Chapter 15. Pursuit. Oh my fuck. Sarah is dead? The next day. Sarah is dead. Are you fucking kidding me? Sarah is dead? Nah, no. I don't even want to believe this. The text on the wall that was scribbled in blood said, "Stay away from Adder." So, oh my god. Adder definitely knows that Karasu is going after them. So, it's safe to assume that Kane dying, or Kane missing slash dying, Leon missing slash dying, Vincent, Violet, all those four definitely were taken care of by Adder. And Adder also went after Misa. Oh my fuck. No. No. Oh my god. If the sickness that was... You saw it actually happening twice in the previous video, right? You saw it happening twice. Once during the meeting, and then just now as well. When he sort of realized that she's gone. Before that she ran away. That... Oh my god. Like, if any time that freaking, oh my god, if any time the sickness is gonna take over or get much worse, now is gonna be the time, right? I'm pretty sure Suoh is freaking angry and pissed as hell. Like, the thing before all of this, Sara was the one person that, you know, that he sort of had, because his parents died. They were forced to leave the house. They didn't get their inheritance or whatever. They also had to just change lifestyles dramatically. All the shit with school and everything. Sara was the only person that sort of, you know, was there since the very beginning. Now Suoh certainly, yeah, he has built up a pretty nice life besides his home life with Sara. He's gotten really friendly and even close to the point where they might end up dating, I don't know, Misa and Suoh. But he's built up a pretty nice working life and sort of another life besides Sara and everything, right? He's content at his job and everything like that. So it's not the end of the world exactly that Sara died, because it's not like Suoh has nothing left anymore. But this sucks so much. Sara dead? I didn't expect that, and holy fuck. I smell fire. What the fuck is that? I guess it was just food, or not. The smell is gone now. What the I was like walking towards downstairs thinking it was food, but then the smell downstairs was completely different, and the smell started to disappear the moment I went towards the hallway and towards the stairs. So I went back thinking, okay, the smell has to be from in my room. But it's gone? Am I going crazy or what? What the fuck? Let's just continue, I guess. That was chapter 15, Pursuit, that we're starting right now. Saturday morning, November 19th. Today, months after finally being released from the hospital myself, I've returned to a scene of unrelenting despair. It may be a different room, in a different hospital, with different staff, but for all of the difference I can observe, one thing remains the same. The unmistakable stench of death. Maybe that's what I'm smelling. I'm smelling it through the game. Oh my god. After all, even more so than my line of work, this is a field which centers around death. The sick, the elderly, those who have been severely injured, many of the people who are carried in here never leave again. I really shouldn't be unsettled by that fact. After all, though I may be relatively new, I suppose I am a killer. But in this case... Oh my god. It can't be helped. No matter how well adjusted you are, things change completely when the patient, when the victim, is somebody close to you. Having lost my parents during my own recent stay in the hospital, I was obviously in no hurry to return, be it as a patient or a guest. Moreover, with Sara being the one incapacitated, my fears were obvious. After losing my parents the last time I was here, I couldn't stand the thought of losing my sister too. But this time around, I have nothing to fear. After all, Sara is already dead. By the time I had reached Sara's side, she was already gone. Her breathing was non-existent. Her spilled blood had started to cool, and there was no chance of survival. Even then, I frantically called an ambulance, screamed at the person on the other side of the phone, begging them to save my sister. But when the paramedics showed up, they knew immediately that there was nothing they could do. She had been cut down hours prior, murdered at a time when I usually would have been home to protect her. While I was out with Misa, wasting away the hours and enjoying myself, I never thought for a second that I was putting Sara in any danger. I thought she might be mad, sure, or that she'd resent me going out without her. But this? Every day I flirt with death, killing random strangers, protecting my own neck. I'd even go so far as to say that I've become comfortable with death. But now that Sara's the one laying in front of me, lifeless, cold, not breathing, I wish it was you. I wouldn't go so far as to say that I have a death wish, but yes, that's exactly right. I'm the one who's been putting himself at risk. I'm the one who's been killing people for money. I'm the one who invited violence and deceit into our house. So why should Sara have to die? Why aren't I the one being punished? Every step of the way, I've done terrible things. Every day, I kill people without remorse. I'm the one who should be dead, not her. And yet, you're alive. Indeed I am. My parents are dead. Sara's dead. My co-workers are dying. But I'm still here. Despite the danger I've been facing, the constant risk of death, I'm alive. And because I'm alive, I can still make them pay. Whoever did this to my sister, they're obviously affiliated with Adam, and going by their message, they want me to abandon my mission. But by targeting my sister instead of me, they've made a big mistake. Until now, Sara's been the only voice of reason in my life. She was the only one holding me back, giving me a place to come back to. So without Sara by my side, all I have is my job. I'll find whoever did this to my sister, no matter what it takes. I'll rob Adder blind. I'll help Karasu destroy their business, and I'll do everything in my power I can to annihilate them. And when I find the person directly responsible for Sara's death, the one who took her life with their own two hands, I'll eviscerate them. I'll cut them open like a trout, rip up their intestines, and dump their mangled corpse out in the open. I'll tie them to a chair and slowly peel back every inch of their flesh on their body, enjoying every moment of their suffering. Claire, oh my god, does Misa... Is it me or does it look like she has tears in her eyes? Misa? As my thoughts began to rapidly deteriorate, the one to break my internal struggle was Misa, the girl who had been right beside me when my sister's body was found. She traveled with me to the hospital, stayed up all night beside me as I waited for my sister's body to be released, and even now refused to leave me alone. Misa. What am I even doing here? Getting myself riled up and lost in dreams of vengeance won't help me, nor will losing myself to grief. Even if I'm not ready to mourn my sister, once this is all over, I'll have all the time in the world to do so. For the time being, I need to focus on the living. I'm sorry, Misa. I was losing myself for a second there. I didn't mean to worry you. I really am a bastard. I was so caught up on what I'd lost that I didn't even take into account what I still had. And Sara wasn't the only person in my life. Not anymore. Misa, this kind, caring, considerate girl, she's been right beside me this entire time, and I just took her presence for granted. But not anymore. I'm not going to let Sara's fate befall Misa too, nor am I going to leave her alone. I'll learn from the mistakes I made while Sara was alive, and make sure never to repeat them. Four days later, oh my god. He is surprisingly somewhat quick to sort of, push Sara aside despite the fact that she just died. But I can sort of understand his priorities a little bit, because the way that we've played this route, work and everything that came along with it was always like 90% of the time was first priority, and then Sara ended up falling automatically to second priority, even though it wasn't always our intention, and it wasn't like we still cared about Sara. It wasn't like we were actually like trying to shove her aside, like, yeah, work is much more important than you, and we don't care about her. We did care about it, and we still do, but I just feel like the way that I've played it, ultimately I prioritize perhaps work a bit too much in a relationship with Misa, and unfortunately Sara had to take the fall for us there. Oh my god, fucking adder. Wednesday morning, November 23rd. It's been less than a week now since my sister left this house, and her presence has been sorely missed. Aside from the obvious emotional torment of losing Sara, there's been an unforeseen physical aspect to her absence as well, and I just don't mean the fact that she isn't here. Without Sara around, many of the things I've taken for granted have come to light, revealing just how hard she worked while I was killing my way to a paycheck. Dishes piling up, clothes and towels not getting washed, meals being skipped, dust accumulating. Or at least that would have been the case, if not for my fellow loner. Good morning, Misa. Busy making another glorious meal to start the day? Although she might not be as skilled as Sara, Misa knows her way around the kitchen, and her attention to detail has kept this house in order despite Sara's absence. Have we replaced Sara that quickly with Misa? Just like, alright, well, Sara's gone. You had this feeling, or at least I had this feeling, that if Sara didn't die, then we felt like, overall over the course of the chapters, Suoh and Misa just became closer and closer, to the point where inevitably they would probably just kind of, end up being together as a couple. And with Sara, if Sara were still alive, that would probably kind of cause a tiny problem, if not a really big problem. So in some ways, as sad as it may be and as harsh as it may be, it's probably for the better that Sara is gone, because I feel like it's either one or the other. You can't have both, You're either gonna have just a strong brotherly, sisterly relationship with each other, or you're going to pick Misa above your own sister. And we kind of catered more towards the choices with Misa, and with Sara out of the picture, it just seems kinda, I guess, natural to replace Misa with Sara just like that. Oh well. In fact, I have little doubt that it's due to Misa's typically solitary lifestyle that she's fit the role so well. For a girl like Misa, always on her own, it's only natural that she'd develop these skills. Whatever the reason, if it weren't here to babysit me and to see me through this, I don't know what I'd do. It's not as though I can't get through the day without Sara. As hopeless as I might be, I'm not so dependent on others that I can't live on my own. But in this period, without any work, anxiously waiting for a rapidly approaching deadline, Misa's presence has helped more than I'd ever admit. In fact, as long as Misa's here, My thoughts interrupted by the vibration in my pockets. I fished out my phone to check on the reason behind the disturbance. I opened the text messaging application and found a single message from Sai, addressed to both Misa and myself. Misa, Suoh, meet us at the usual place. Come prepared to work. Huh. Wow. Sai doesn't really mince words. Short and straight to the point, just like Sai himself. I briefly stopped in my bedroom to grab my weapon, work clothes, and money for travel. While I was there, I grabbed the same for Misa, who was quick to make herself at home upon moving in with me. Really? Does Sai let Misa move in here? What? I thought that she would only just, show up here during our usual time in which we hang out, which is kind of like, the early parts of the day. But Sai really let Misa move in here with us? What? Misa, message from Sai. Time to go. Bad timing. I know. He could have at least waited until we finished breakfast. Come on. You can finish cooking later. Just make some toast and get changed. I guess not, huh? Well, it's not like he said we needed to go right this instant. We'll leave after breakfast, okay? Aww. It seems like Misa's actually getting used to being, I guess, sort of a house girl. I almost want to say housewife, but we're not married or anything, But it seems like she kind of likes those normal everyday tasks, that's required in keeping a household together and keep it running. After waiting for Misa to finish making breakfast, the two of us ate slowly together, expressing no urgency in our actions. We double-checked that I grabbed everything, washed our hands, cleaned the dishes, and did everything we could think of to make sure that things were in order. Finally content with ourselves, we then walked to the bus stop, waited for a bus, and rode until our stop. Took you long enough. I contacted you over an hour ago. I knew Sai would be mad. Oh well, serves him right for not giving us a deadline. Well, you could have given us a bit of a warning. Misa and I were in the middle of... Oh, pray tell, what that insensitive nuisance Sai interrupted. A morning romp, perhaps? A fight over the bed sheets? Or maybe the two of you were about to strip down and... Enough already! Must you do this every freaking time? We're trying to work! Just get out of here! Hey, but this is my office. Did Sai really push him out? Although we don't have that kind of relationship that Karasu implied, Misa and I have been pretty close lately. Sai would snap in a heartbeat if he knew that we've been sharing a bed, or that Misa's been playing housewife. So then, now that the distraction is gone, what were the two of you doing? And of course, Karasu's words got to him after all. Sai asked the same question during our Sunday meeting, and again amid training on Monday and Tuesday nights. Misa was in the middle of baking breakfast. That's it. Oh, I see. That makes sense. Of course you'd be eating breakfast at this time of the morning. Ha 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 ha. For crying out loud, Sai. Anyway, now that we've gotten that out of the way, Suoh, I've called you and Misa here this morning for an urgent assignment. We've finally gotten a fix on Leon and the others, or on their phones at least. I'll be going after Leon and Kane, so I want the two of you to track down Violet and Victor. Tracking them down? If they've disappeared for this long without word, then how do you know that those four are really the ones you've traced? Couldn't someone have just taken their phones after killing them? I was getting to that. At this point in time, we're working under the assumption that one of the two scenarios is playing out. First, those four have gone rogue. They purposely moved out of the city to avoid detection and now have returned. Second, they were all killed and their phones were taken from them In that case, we can assume we're being lured away from base. Either way, the simultaneous disappearances and re-emergence means this is likely a trap, so you need to be on your guard. Normally, we'd scout the locations out first, then gradually move in, but with the timing and our resources being what they are. So our vacation is being cut short in favor of recon work? Huh? I should have known. The next day, Thursday morning, November 24th. Following yesterday's conversation with Sai, Misa and I received the coordinates of our targets and began moving out. We traveled most of the day, swapping between numerous buses and trains while eating on the run, and eventually we closed in on the districts in which our targets allegedly reside. We took the time to go shopping very briefly, buying clothes and foods to last us the night, then headed to our hotel room, which Karasu arranged ahead of our arrival. I know said this was a possibility for me, but I never thought I would really be staying in a place like this while on the job. His drifter lifestyle might not be so bad after all, if he gets to live like this every day. Heck, I slept better last night than I have in months. Rather than sharing a single bed with my sister, I got an entire double bed to myself. I could really get used to this. Shortly after we arrived at the hotel, Misa and I went to bed, leaving aside fantasies of room service and watching TV in bed for another time. We took a double bed each, rather than sharing one like we had been at my place, and drifted off into a well-earned slumber. Now, awake and refreshed after a good night's sleep, Misa and I are ready to... Misa, how on earth can you be tired? You usually wake up far earlier than I do. Honestly, I've already showered and everything. Since when has Misa been such a sloth? Although we haven't been cohabitating long, Misa has woken up before me every day until now. This morning, however, I woke up at least an hour before Misa and was only able to get up after forcibly removing her from my side, at which point she reluctantly got out of bed. At what point in the night she crept into my bed, I have no idea. Yeah, you said that already. Come on, let's get moving. We'll find somewhere to eat breakfast. And then... Misa? Okay, I guess she's showering? Well, I guess it wouldn't kill us to wait until after Misa showers. At last, hastening our lethargic morning, Misa and I hit the town. We ate breakfast together at a local cafe, wandered around aimlessly for a while, and then finally began our search. Fortunately, our search was not a lengthy one. We simply followed the coordinates on Misa's phone until we reached a street a mere 20 minutes away from the hotel, supposedly playing host to one of our targets. As we encroached upon the beacon, however, we found nothing. No corpses awaiting us, no friendly faces, no trap ready to be sprung. Not a damn thing. Nothing here, huh? Maybe the coordinates have changed since I sent them to us. I understand why we shouldn't be able to track one another, but day-old coordinates are a bit... Wave. When I looked over at her, Misa was waiting by an alley, gesturing for me to look inside. In the alley? That was quick. What could she have... Uh-oh. Well now, if I didn't know any better, I'd say Misa just found one of our old comrades. Sparing a moment to check on Misa's discovery, within the alley, I found the corpse of our departed friend, Vincent. But what set Misa off was not the fact that the victim was someone she once knew, and it certainly wasn't the sight of a corpse. Rather, what disgusted Misa to the point of puking was the smell. I have a fairly strong stomach nowadays, at least when my sickness isn't acting up. But that made even me want to puke. Given how long he's been missing, Vincent could have been there for a couple of weeks, just decomposing and turning away anybody who came near the alley. Further to that, Vincent's head was caved in, no doubt serving as the cause of his death. All in all, it's a rather disgusting way for anybody to wind up, let alone a pretty boy like Vincent. With Vincent's identity and death both confirmed, I followed after Misa, who I found puking nearby. Misa, are you feeling okay? We could head back to the hotel before going any further if you need a break. Okay, but don't push yourself. If you need to rest, I won't say anything. No rest for the wicked, huh? Fine by me. We've only been here one night, and we're already half done with our task. As long as we find Violet promptly, we should be able to return home as soon as tomorrow. Ah, Sai. There you are. You've been in and out of here all morning. What's going on? Don't be like that. You know how lousy reception is down here. When are you going to install more repeaters? It's a mesh network, for crying out loud. It shouldn't matter how far on the ground we are. Ha ha ha. Listen to Sai, the techie. Are you sure you wouldn't rather join my IT department? Corpse disposal is so beneath you. So, it's serious, is it? I take it that you were speaking to the kids. Yes, I've been in contact with them all morning. Vincent's body has been discovered, and Violet is on the move. Vincent's body? Huh? How did he die? That's the part I'm worried about. As you know, I've been attempting to track down Leon and Kane. As soon as I set out after them, however, they went on the move, almost as if they had a trace on my location. So I continued to follow their coordinates, and surely enough, Vincent was found with his head caved in? Precisely. This is serious indeed. As long as they're prepared, Misa and Suoh should have no trouble disposing of one of the remaining three. But all of them at once? Yes, I know. This is quite an undesirable situation. So you agree that we should bring those two back here? Not exactly. Oh? So you're going to meet up with those two, and together, the three of you will... I'd never make it in time. Then, what do you... You know exactly what I'm going to do. You can't be serious. You're going to push them both out of the nest? Now? Of all times? This is serious, Sai. Even if those two know what to expect, they still... You did tell them, didn't you? How I raised my daughter is none of your concern. What? What if this is like part of the training? You know? He's said to be sort of expect the unexpected and be prepared for the worst case scenario. What if to Sai and Karasu, Vincent and Violet are like disposable, and Kane and Leon are setting up this entire sort of fake scenario in which Misa and Suoh have to try and survive and just adapt to the situation and whatnot. Like, it could be that, but it kind of seems like a really elaborate, and you know, the fact that people are actually dying just for the sake of training seems a bit far-fetched. But I don't know, considering the strings that Karasu has been pulling, you know, the fact that he basically set two specific cases to have that set in motion to basically pull Suoh closer to his side. That was another thing that I was thinking. what if actually Adder didn't kill Sara, but just as another more sort of motivation to keep Suoh and to help, because he sees Suoh as potential, right? Karasu sees Suoh as potential, as possibly one of his best men that he could probably get. What if he just saw Sara as a distraction for him, and then got rid of Sara, got it out of the picture, so that Suoh can then solely focus on just his work and the job and the task that he has to do for Karasu? It's a bit out there as a theory, but I don't know, it could be possible considering what Karasu has been done so far, considering the fact that he's the one that made sure that the A's daughter was kidnapped, and the other guy with the fake policeman as well, It wouldn't be too far-fetched for Karasu to actually do this, or to set this in place, but dang, is it cruel if that were true. After wandering around a while longer, trying to hunt down our other target, Misa and I decided it was time to take a break. I bought some sweets at a corner shop, hoping to remove the taste of vomit from Misa's mouth, then ordered some takeaway for the two of us to eat in our hotel room. Upon returning to our room, Misa began heating up the takeaway, and I took the opportunity to phone Sai. I reported to him what we had found, and in return, we received updated coordinates for our other targets. Unfortunately, the information he had for me was nothing positive. Unlike Vincent, who was obviously immobile, Violet made no effort to stay still. Violet, or at least the person with her phone in hand, had been moving around since daybreak and showed no sign of stopping. So as Misa and I sat down for lunch, trying to enjoy our break, I knew the rest of our assignment wouldn't be so simple. Following a quick lunch, Misa and I headed directly to the newest set of coordinates offered to us by Sai. Without taking any detours, we assumed the shortest path possible, arriving at the detailed location as quickly as possible. By the time we had arrived, however, our target was long gone, and our coordinates had changed to a location impossible to reach in such a short amount of time. Nonetheless, I followed Sai's updated coordinates and homed in on a new location. Once again, Misa and I reached our target's location, prepped and ready to face them. However, just like before, what awaited us was an empty street with no sign of human life. This is ridiculous. No matter how quickly we arrive, Violet's one step ahead of us, preemptively fleeing at inhuman speed. Is she on a motorbike? A moped perhaps? I haven't heard the sound of an engine at all, but a vehicle would explain how she's able to evade us so quickly. What if a bird has it? Nah, that won't make sense. This is going nowhere. Any ideas, Misa? What a pain. Every time I move, our targets get further away. Well, at least now I'll get some time away from Misa. As I spoke to myself out loud, Misa and I grew further and further apart. We had to split nearly 15 minutes prior and received no further contact from Sai since then. Man, this is such a stupid assignment. I really do hate this job. And why am I paired up with a kid like her anyway? This has gotta be an act, right? Perhaps we're not so different after all. Oh yeah, it's an act to lure out Violet. It's about time you took back control of your own life, don't you think? While I rambled to myself, Violet appeared before me, silently emerging from the shadows. She had concealed herself in an alleyway, hidden behind the closed doors of an uninhabited home. Violet? But how are you standing in front of you? I've been watching you this entire time, waiting for you to separate from that brat. She's been watching me? How is that possible? The coordinates Sai went me were fake, completely fake. Honestly, by this point, you and those Japs are the only ones who don't know how to falsify your location. No wonder we were unable to catch her. Still, for Violet to give us coordinates so close to her real location and then call me out like this. Anyway, we don't have much time, so I'm going to make this quick. a proposal for you. A proposal? That's right. A new avenue of income without all the idiocy stemming from Karasu's influence. Interested? Interested? When money is concerned, I'm always interested. More money than I'd make working for Karasu? Much more. After we take out that idiot and steal his business, we'll run a much smoother, more lucrative operation than he ever did. So that's what she's after. How long have you been planning this? I'm not going to ditch my job for a half-baked scheme you cooked up last night. But you aren't against the idea, are you? The truth is, this was all Leon's idea, and he's been planning this for a long time. Of course it was fucking Leon. Damn. I might not be especially bright, but even I can see where this is heading. So, he's been recruiting Karasu's own men, then killing or disappearing anyone who refuses to join? You guessed it. To be honest, he really didn't want you to join us, but with Vincent having a change of heart, we're a little low on numbers, and time is of the essence. I see. Anyway, enough of that. I realize I've left out most of the details, but I couldn't expect you to join us without knowing at least part of the truth. So what do you say? Shall we continue this conversation at length? Somewhere a little more private? Violet smirked at me seductively, as though she already knew the answer. Oh my god, this is her thing, right? This is her like tactic, how she took out her assignments as well, the people she was assigned to kill. She always just like was seducing them and it's like, oh yeah, using her sexuality, like look at my boobs. Oh why, oh my strap of my shoulder is slowly going down, and then chuck a knife in the throat. She offered me money, the one motivation I had for working on the Karasu, and plenty of it. She offered me freedom from my obligations to Karasu, a way out of this double life. Anyone in my situation would agree without hesitation. Yeah, okay. You won't regret this. Things will be difficult at first, but then... Come on out, Misa. Huh? Oh, yeah! All according to Keikaku. Oh yeah, plan successful. Without making a sound as she approached, Misa kicked one of Violet's knees from behind, lowering her to a more accessible height. Violet fell to her knees, and the second she went to retaliate, she found Misa's blade resting on her throat. God, what is this? With the tables being turned, Violet grew panicked and angry. She knew he was behind her and wanted dearly to fight back, but with the blade of a professional killer at her throat, she wouldn't dare. Exactly what it looks like. Traitor. Misa realized that the coordinates were being sent. You fucking bitch! You weren't supposed to be here! Go back to your papa's teeth, little girl! The second I mentioned Misa's name, Violet lashed out, uninterested in anything else I had to say. Violet struggled to escape Misa's grasp and continued to berate Misa as she did, despite her current predicaments. In turn, Misa pressed her blade harder while stepping on Violet's calf, making her as uncomfortable as possible. Sorry to disappoint Violet, but Misa isn't going anywhere. In fact, she's been with me this whole time. Really now, we're hunting down professional killers. What kind of idiot would separate their partner at a time like this? Tja, so that's your choice, huh? Well done, you little skank. At last you've got a man to protect you. And that means you finally sunk to my level. Not so high and mighty now, are you? You pathetic, flat-chested virgin. Honestly, what a miserable little... Without a moment's hesitation or regret, Misa ended Violet's monologue before she could spew forth another hurtful line. Violet tried to speak, but doing so only caused more blood to flow from her exposed throat. quickly draining the color from her face. Panic spread across Violet's face, and she desperately tried to grab the knife at her throat. But Misa had already begun to cut into her, and showed no sign of displaying any mercy. Oh my god, this is a side of Misa we haven't seen before. Unlike in our previous hunts, Misa didn't seem bothered in the least by the bloody display. In fact, if anything, she looked happy. I guess these two must have had some sort of history together, right? Because both of them were already working for Karasu before I joined, and you can definitely tell from the way Violet was talking to Misa that they have a history together. It's not a good one, obviously, which is why Misa, I guess, shows such, I guess, happiness in actually killing Violet, whereas before it was always just like, I'm killing to do a job. But this is personal. Given the brief exchange from moments ago, I figured that Misa and Violet were never on good terms. But even then, seeing such a sudden change in Misa's personality was a shock. Is this what Misa is usually like when she's on the job? She seemed hesitant and enthusiastic when we went out previously, and our run-in with Miss Mendez unsettled her. But looking at her right now, I'm not so sure if this was the real Misa, or this is... Oh my god! Look how far deep that into her throat is, holy crap. Before long, the light had left Violet's eyes, and she could only groan weakly. Misa had cut her victim deep, and in a location sure to kill. She knew how to end Violet's life without delay or risk of failure. Faced with a fatal amount of blood loss, Violet's head hung lifeless, supported only by Misa's head, a hand at the back of her head. Apart from a few gurgling sounds and exasperated gasps, Violet was completely silent. But rather than allow the corpse in hand to fall to the ground, Misa continued to hold Violet where she was, dragging her blade deeper into the deceased woman's throat. Whatever compassion Misa had shown her previous victims, it was evident that she wanted Violet dead, beyond the shadow of a doubt. Beyond that, if I didn't know any better, I could have sworn that Misa actually enjoyed herself. Oh my god, do I have to censor that, by the way? Oh my god, I probably have to. With our mission already complete, Misa and I returned to our hotel room. We had successfully retrieved the phones of Violet and Vincent and confirmed both of their deaths, so we had no reason to linger any longer. Further to that, I relayed the information we had gleaned from Violet to Karasu, who seemed to feel betrayed, but not particularly surprised. So with the day already behind us, and tomorrow signaling another trip, Misa and I stayed one more night in our hotel room. Upon returning to our hotel room, Misa immediately headed for the shower. Although she had rid herself of most of Violet's blood before leaving the scene of the crime, she still needed to change clothes, and no doubt, take a moment to herself to think. Feeling better now? Showing no sign of her earlier bloodlust or malice, Misa smiled happily as I approached her. If anything, she seemed more carefree than usual, as though a great weight had been lifted as she sliced into Violet's neck. That's good. I know you're not fond of unnecessary violence, but I couldn't see that scenario ending any other way. Though, it would have been nice to question Violet a little more before silencing her. So, is there anything else you want to do before we head back tomorrow? We'll be traveling for most of the day, so if there's something you want to do or buy, tomorrow morning will be your chance. Oh? That's odd. I figured that Misa would want to play around for as long as possible, since it's just the two of us. Maybe Misa misses home more than I thought. And by home, I of course mean my home. In that case, I guess I'll just take a shower and go to bed. And don't steal my bed this time, alright? Really, She has no idea how surprised I was to wake up with Misa next to me. At my house, it's understandable to a degree, since there's only the one bed. But here she has no other excuse. Aww, huh? Is Misa taking that remark seriously? She's blushing. Wait, she isn't thinking about what Violet said, is she? Don't take that too seriously. I was only joking. Really, I didn't mean anything by it.